Hello friends, let's discuss current affairs and today's first questions on something that's pretty topical. Which country's surveillance balloon over the Atlantic Ocean was recently shot down by the United States military fighter jets? Chinese balloon, that's a balloon, my friends. They shot down four of them, and the US government has admitted that at least two of them were benign, means harmless. But the one that you see on the screen there is, was the size of three buses, three school buses. Now that must be pretty large. Now this was shot down, after it had traversed the whole of, the United States. That is from west coast to east coast. So, you know, they found some surveillance equipment over it, radio antenna equipment and all. Now the thing is, the US has said that this was all surveillance or intelligence collection equipment, while the Chinese have maintained that this was all for meteorological research. Meteorological research, that is weather research. Now the kind of equipment found here on this particular balloon isn't something that would match the needs of meteorological research. They go beyond that, and that's what the US is claiming. The US is saying that this is all for surveillance, surveillance of military sites, spying essentially on military sites, reconnaissance and all that stuff. So, how big was this balloon? Well, you see this here. This is the balloon, okay, and look at the payload. This is the payload, you see basically right there, hanging below it. The payload was about 30 meters, anywhere between 20 and 30 meters. That would be what, about somewhere around 42 to 46 to 60 feet, 62 feet. That's a lot of it, man. So 90 feet, I'm so sorry. 90 feet. 60 to 90 feet, that's a lot of it. And you see, this is the Statue of Liberty. This was given gift by the people of France to the people of America. Why? Some other day we'll look at that. 93-meter tall. This is payload was 1/3 of it actually. Okay, so always this huge thing about the Chinese stuff. One report has said that the Chinese are past masters, that is, they have been experts at releasing these kinds of balloons in different parts of the world, including one that was spotted in India way back in 1978. It was spotted over Allahabad, okay, Prayagraj. In those days it was called Allahabad, now we call it Prayagraj. So 1978 is some time, my friends, isn't it? Some 45 years back it was found over Prayagraj. Anyway, these kinds of things are pretty ordinary, pretty common, and it's just that the Chinese have been found. Yes. Would you want to know about each of these countries? Just the capital this time around: North Korea, Pyongyang. Iran's Tehran. Moscow is where the government of Russian Federation sits. China, we all know, is Beijing. The capital is Beijing. Cuba, Havana. And in the case of Cuba, President Miguel Canel Diaz. That's the president of Cuba. Only the third president since 1959. There was the first guy was Fidel Castro, followed by his brother Raul Castro, and now Miguel Canel Diaz. Okay, there we go. By the way, this F-22 is nicknamed the Raptor. The fighter aircraft is nicknamed the Raptor. That's it. Who broke the record for the most Grammy wins of any artist, winning her or his 32nd prize? Her, actually. Beyonce Knowles. This is the most, I would say, beautiful Beyonce Knowles. And Beyonce is considered the greatest, one of the greatest woman musicians of all time. She also happens to be the highest earning black musician of all time. Highest earning black woman musician of all time. Yeah, that's important. Woman musician. Okay. and she's won 32 Grammys. That's what Grammy is, the Oscar of the movie, film. Sorry, Grammy is Oscar of the music industry. Okay, see, Oscars film. Okay, Grammys. We're talking about the US actually. Yeah, music. Then we have Tony Awards. They are given for theater, dramas, and all that. And then we have Emmy, which is for television, which is for TV. These are called the four awards, the four highest awards in the four major disciplines of entertainment and culture. So, Beyonce, if you would listen to her, if you would be interested, I would suggest two albums. One is Lemonade, considered her best album. It's also her highest selling album, Lemonade. And the second one is Everything is Love. It's really good stuff, my friends. This album is Everything is Love. Sorry, Everything is Love. Great stuff. So I'll just give you 3 Grammy Awards this time. Okay, 65th Grammy Awards. 65th Grammy Awards. We'll write only 3 categories. So 65th Grammy. Okay. Record of the year. Record means album. Record of the year. LP. Long LP record. Long playing record. Okay. Record of the year. About Damn Time. Yeah, Time. By Lizzo, the performer Lizzo. Then Album of the Year. Harry's House. Harry's House. Harry's House by Harry Styles. Yeah, Harry Styles. Okay, the third category, Best Song of the Year. That is Song of the Year. Oh, it is a terrific song, my friends. Just Like That. Please listen to it. That's the title. Just Like That. The guy who wrote it is Brian. No, not Brian. Yeah, sorry, not Brian. This morning I was discussing this. It's Bonnie. It's like Bonnie M singer. Yeah, but it's not different. Sorry, Just Like That. JLT we call it. Yeah, Bonnie. Many people say when I say Bonnie, many people would say, music lovers would say Bonnie M. Bonnie M. That is Boney. This is Bonnie, Bonnie. Bonnie Riot. Bonnie Riot. Singer, writer, Bonnie Riot. No, it's Raitt. Bonnie Raitt. I'm so sorry. Hey, you know what? There is this pronunciation of a word that most people get incorrect. We often say raised platform is dais. It is days. This is the right spelling. These are right spelling. How do you pronounce it? Days. Days. Say that. This is days. Okay. When you say dais, the spelling changes, which is incorrect spelling. Dias. This is incorrect. So it's days. This is the pronunciation. This is spelling. That's how this is RAITT, rate instead of riot. Okay. Oh, I love music, and I'm sure that most of you love music. But you should listen to this song, JLT by Bonnie Raitt. Which nations were affected by a powerful earthquake that resulted in a huge loss of life? We all know Syria and Turkey were greatly impacted by this earthquake, and I have a couple of images for you guys. I'm going to tell you how earthquakes happen, but before this, this is where the earthquake struck. See, this is the Anatolian plate, African plate, and Arabian plate. So what is this? What are these images? See, the earthquake struck on about 18 kilometers north of this place, Gaziantep, and this is northwest of Gaziantep. This is considered one of the oldest cities in Turkey. Okay, 7.8 on the Richter scale. That's a lot of magnitude, a lot of intensity. And the magnitude, what is magnitude, what is intensity, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you how these things that you see on the screen, plates, work, and I'm going to tell you about how earthquakes, what are the things that you should know about earthquakes, what are the words. Okay, let's look at this. See, this earthquake, you've read a lot, you've seen that about more than 40,000 people have died in this earthquake. Now, what's mentioned is Anatolian plate, the African plate, and the Arabian plate. And the right image, you find the names of a lot of plates. Eurasian plate, Indian plate there, in red there. The Arabian plate, the Caribbean plate, the African, the Pacific plate, plenty of plates. So what's a plate? A plate is a major chunk of rock, continuous rock. Now, see the Earth's surface from where you are seated. Let's say you just look at the floor. You'll find either tiles or stones or something, some kind of flooring. The Earth's crust is made of stone, isn't it? It's made of rock. Technically, rock, not stone, rock. Now, a bit deeper down there is what is called a deeper, a bigger slab of rock. The Earth's surface is made of slabs of rock, and each slab is a continuous each slab is a continuous rock layer. It's a continuous rock layer. Let's say this is one rock layer. This paper. This is one rock layer. Okay. Otherwise, we could do this way. Okay. मैं random में ऐसे करता हूँ. Okay. This is one rock layer, random shape. And this is another rock layer, this one. Okay. Now, the Earth's made of rock layers. This is simply called plates. It's a very large slab of rock. A plate is a large slab of rock. Okay. Now, there is this slab of rock on the continents, and which is called which is like continental basically, and then there is oceanic right below in the oceans. The thickness of the slab could be anywhere between 10 and 160 kilometers from deep inside, slightly deeper from the surface. It's about, in fact, the crust starts almost from about 5 kilometers or 3 kilometers from where we are. So, this particular, the rock, the plate, sorry. The plate, is spread across, the plates are spread across the earth, under the ocean and on the continents. Now, all these plates, they are located above a very semi-liquid layer, called asthenosphere. Asthenosphere. It's a gummy layer. It's a It's a semi-liquid layer. Asthenosphere. When you pronounce this, it is SF, not SP, SF. Asthenosphere. This is a semi-liquid kind of layer. Okay, it's a rubbery, gooey, gummy kind of layer. So when there is a plate, when there is a rock layer, and below this there is a gooey layer, obviously it could, it would move a bit. It would move. Now all these plates you see on the right there, you find plenty of plates, Indian plate, African plate, Australian plate, and all these things. Now, this is the latest classification of plates. As per the United States Geological Survey, this is the latest, brand new latest classification of the Earth's plates. Now, what it effectively tells you is this entire thing is one continuous, so this African plate, you see this here? This is one large slab of rock, egg rock. continuous rock below, deep downside. Okay, see this North American plate, how big it is. Oh my God, look at this. This is all one rock. Okay, now in the Indian plate, you see this again. The Indian plate is also very large. Now I want you to understand something here, that these, these layers, this plate over this rock layer would move a bit here and there. Now at the margins of the plates, let's say for example this plate, there are three plates in this region. Arabian plate, this is the Arabian plate, you can see this line here. This is the African plate and this is the Anatolian plate. Upar hai Eurasian plate. So there are four plates. At the top, Eurasian plate, okay, on which the Black Sea is located, the whole of Europe is located. You see this Eurasian plate and everything, okay. And then the Anatolian plate, African plate, on which the whole of Africa and surrounding areas are located. Arabian plate. Now the Arabian plate here is pushing towards left. It's pushing actually into what we say, north. Aise upar ja rahi hai. It is pushing into the Eurasian plate, like this. This is also here, it's pushing into the European plate. When it's pushing into the European plate, what's happening is that the Anatolian plate here is going towards west. It's pushing west. It's pushing west. See, this is not a small rock kind of thing. Take away, it would run into something. No. When the plates which long for thousands of kilometers, sometimes hundreds of kilometers, what happens is that when the plates rub against each other, the plates, simple way, okay, understanding the earthquake, when the plates rub against each other, they produce energy. There is friction, and friction produces energy. And because this happens deep inside the earth, when friction leads to release of energy, and the energy comes to the surface of the earth in the form of waves. So these waves are called seismic waves. They are called seismic waves. So let's say at the bottom, somewhere inside the earth, there is the origin of this earthquake. It's called hypocenter. The exact point where the earthquake originates, it's called hypocenter. Now waves travel in all directions like this from the hypocenter. Okay? Obviously they are waves, so wherever they space, they will travel. And when they travel like this, okay, from here, let's say till here, let's say this area, this entire area, these are all seismic waves. The exact point over the hypocenter, but on the surface, it's called epicenter. Epi means outside. The outside center of the waves, the earthquake. So the exact point where the earthquake happens deep inside the earth is called hypocenter. The exact point where the earthquake, the exact point above the hypocenter, but on the surface of the earth, is called epicenter. Now this area is called focus area. This entire area where seismic waves travel is called focus area. So seismic are earthquake waves. This entire region where I have drawn lines, this is the total focus area of the earthquake damage. This is where the earthquake is felt in a deeper way, in a much deeper way. So this earthquake, okay, happened because the Arabian plate is pushing northwards into the Eurasian plate. Because it's pushing into the European plate like Eurasian plate, this plate, Anatolian plate, has to make way and is pushing west. So when waves, when plates move, they kind of rub against each other, they create friction, and friction, as I said, to repeat myself, is releases energy. Energy comes out in the form of waves, seismic waves, which cause the earthquake. So when they rub against each other, the rock layer above it gets disturbed and the rock layer shakes, and that is what the shaking of the earthquake, that is why the shaking of the earthquake happens, because the rock layer above the friction along the plates happens. So these plates rub against each other, the rock layer above it gets disturbed and it releases energy. Energy is in the form of seismic waves. Okay, so I mean, the exact point where the epicenter, I mean, where the earthquake is felt on the surface of the earth, that there is epicenter, is where the greatest damage happens. Usually, the greatest damage happens right above the hypocenter, but on the surface of the earth, which is called epicenter. So the epicenter, that is where Top is. This is the Top area. This is the town of Top, just northwest of 18 kilometers northwest of this place. There was this huge, epicenter earthquake. The plate shook, everything got devastated. Okay, now this was at a much shallower depth, this particular earthquake. This was about 18, this was about 18 kilometers depth, 18 kilometers depth, 17 or 18 kilometers depth below the earth, which is shallow, considering that most earthquakes originate above 30 kilometers down, at a depth of more than 30 kilometers. But this was quite shallow, almost closer to the surface, 18 kilometers only. So when the closer it is, the greater the shaking it is, the greater the shaking, okay, on the surface. So this was bad time. Earthquake struck at 4:17 in the morning, 4:17 or 4:20, take 4:20. That's the time everyone's sleeping, taking rest. And this caught people unawares. They could not even prepare. By the time they realized that something was not right, they got caught in that. And a lot of people died, my friends. It's always sad. 41,000 people died, my friends. As of today's count, it could be more, because if you look at Syria, Syria's under the occupation of the US forces in the northwest of the country. Northwest is under Syria, American forces, and other parts of Syria like Damascus, capital Damascus and everything, where the earthquake was felt, has also seen devastation. But considering that Syria is under sanctions, Western aid is not coming. No aid is going to Syria. Forget Western aid. No aid is going to Syria, because now the West says that, while we are waving this off, we are keeping a strict eye on who's sending stuff to Syria. So, even where you come from is ground for discrimination. Suffering has no discrimination. See, it struck people everywhere, but the rich, poor, young, old, everyone suffered consequences. But unfortunately, the Americans and the West actually believes that the people in Syria are less deserving than the people of Turkey deserve aid. Than the people of Turkey who deserve aid. Anyway, what's magnitude? Now, you see, the magnitude of the earthquake was 7.8. That's the magnitude on Richter scale. Is it? What is the scale called? Richter scale. Okay. So you could write this. Richter scale measures energy released. Energy released where the earthquake originated. Where the earthquake originated. So this is where the magnitude earthquake originated here. This is the magnitude. So what is energy release? 7.8 on the Richter scale, which is a logarithmic scale. Now on a log scale, normally, if it were 6.8, this would be 100 times more intense than 6.8. So 7.8 is very devastating, my friends. Okay. Now, what's intensity? You could write this intensity also. Refers to size of the seismic waves. Size of the seismic waves recorded by a seismograph. Seismic waves sometimes are longer, deeper, so it depends on that. See, what most people have not seen is that destruction is a function of the stability of the structures. People live in concrete structures, built on shaky ground. Obviously, if it's made of poor quality of materials, cement and everything, things will go bad. So in Turkey, this is a major issue now. Building permits were given, center, left and right. No one was supervising the construction of buildings. There was, because of corruption and other things, political issues. So what happened is that while the Turkish Association of Engineers had written to the president of the country, the prime minister and the housing ministry that look, permissions are being given for building houses and everything on this particular fault line. This is called where, fault line, this areas basically. So we believe that this any earthquake would lead to maximum casualties, because the construction being permitted by the ministry is not in line with the principles or the guidelines given out by the Association of Engineers and Architects. These plates keep moving all the time. It's nothing new. Thousands of earthquakes happen every day. Most are imperceptible. We won't even feel that there's been an earthquake. Now 110 years back, this Indian plate was here. This India was a part of Madagascar. 110 years, 11 crore saal pehle, 11 crore years back. Okay, shall I tell you this? Okay, let me tell you. So the Indian plate was here. Okay, the Indian plate was here, and this was the Eurasian plate. Okay, the Indian plate here, very large land mass, and around 110 million years back, that is 1 million is 10 lakh, so that's 11 crore years back. 11 crore years back. The Indian plate began to move northeast. Okay? Between the Eurasian plate and the Indian plate here, India was here. Okay, the Indian plate was here. Between these two, there was a water body called Tethys Sea, Samudra, Tethys Sea. This Samudra became narrower as the Indian plate began moving up. Okay, the gap, this Eurasian plate, the Indian plate began moving up. The gap between these two narrowed. At around this time, about 40 lakh years back, the Indian plate thrusted into the Eurasian plate. It touched whatever the water body in between, the Tethys. The rock layer in the Tethys Sea all folded up and created the Himalayas. So the Himalayas are called fold mountains because this is the rock layer in the Tethys Sea that folded up because of the collision between the Indian plate and the Eurasian plate. So the Indian plate and the Eurasian plate here, it's rammed into this, collided into this, the water body in between narrowed, and all the rock layer folded up, built the Himalayas. The Himalayas are relatively young, just 4 million years, that's about 40 lakh years. Different sources give you different times as to when they were formed and everything, but more or less this is how it is. Now, how do we know? How are we confirmed with the idea that there was a water body here between the Tethys Sea, between the Indian plate and the Eurasian plate? Well, on the peaks of the Himalayan mountains, the fossils of the marine animals that lived in the Tethys Sea can be found. Yes, on the peaks, the tall peaks of the Himalayan mountain range, the fossils of the marine animals that lived in the Tethys Sea are found. Otherwise, how can marine animals go up a mountain? You need to understand this. Okay. So there is another way of earthquake, happening. One is rubbing against each other. Sometimes one plate, okay. Another thing is one plate goes down. So let me tell you something more here. Let me think something more, and let me clear this first. Now there is this, oh, we don't have the exact map. कोई बात नहीं. Here you have the Andaman Nicobar Islands, and this is where the, I think a bit I cut it. Never mind. So just rough idea, okay. So these are Andaman Nicobar Islands, and this is Indonesia. In fact, the southernmost point of Andaman Nicobar Islands is Indira Point, which is 150 kilometers from Indonesia. Now think about this. There is this Indonesian plate here, Indian plate. You got it? Indian plate, and यहाँ पे एक Indonesian plate, also called, some people call it Sunda plate. See, not all the plates. For example, there are some major plates, there are some minor plates. These are minor plates. Anatolian plate, Arabian plate are two minor plates. They are called chota plates. Some are major plates. Like in Indian plate is a major plate. African major plate. Okay. Look at Pacific. It's a huge plate. This is entire Pacific. Very, very big plate. Where is it, man? This is the Pacific plate. Now, on December 26, 2004, the Indian plate and the Indonesian plate, let's call it Sunda plate or Indonesian plate, they collided. They collided along a fault line of 440 kilometers. 440 kilometers they collided. Okay. Now the Indian plate went down. This is called subduction. The Indian plate, as they collided, it went down, but water needs equilibrium because the earthquake happened deep inside the earth, deep inside the ocean. This oceanic, earthquake below the ocean. So what happened is, when they were in equilibrium, two plates, water quantity, it went down, the Indian plate went down. So a big wave of water came onto the other side to maintain equilibrium. But then, will the wave stop there? No, it creates another wave. So it's a ripple effect. So what happened was this. The tsunami started. One big wave. It went till the tsunami reached till, from here it started, let's say. It started here. It traveled like this. It traveled the whole of the African continent at a speed of, it started here and it reached, India. This is where the earthquake struck, and this is where the tsunami started. Sri Lanka, Africa, a lot of places were impacted. So about 3 lakh people died in this tsunami. 3 lakh. Now, one more important thing is, a tsunami travels at a speed of anywhere between 700 to 800 kilometers per hour. 700 to 800 kilometers. So when the tsunami travels, it travels very fast. The waves travel very fast, and the speed takes out the boats and everything that comes in the wake. At the same time, as it reaches the coast, because there is continental shelf like this, and there is water coming, the wave is coming, because it meets the land, because of this obstruction in the speed, the waves, as they slow down, they actually don't slow down, but the height of the wave, the depth decreases, and what happens is that, they take height. When water encounters a barrier, it takes height, and height is what kills people, because water has a lot of pressure, and we are not talking of a small, bucket of water or this cup of water kind of thing. We are talking of millions of tons of water and the pressure it mounts on the body. So what it lacks, here in the ocean it has speed, but when it encounters land, the coastal area, it takes a huge, height, a big wave splashes onto the surface and moves faster again. And that's what kills people. It's a dangerous thing, man. More than 3 lakh people died at that time. So there are a lot of kinds of earthquakes. If an earthquake happens underwater, usually tsunami results. Not always, usually, basically. Okay? Oh, we spent a lot of time on this. But I thoroughly enjoyed talking like these things. So in this case, the Arabian plate is moving into the Eurasian plate, which is pushing the Anatolian plate to the west, and the Anatolian plate went down, and this is how the earthquake happened here. Pervez Musharraf, who passed away recently, was the president of Pakistan. This is Pervez Musharraf, the architect of Kargil. Yeah, he was born in Delhi, but his family moved to Pakistan later. I think he was 4 years old when when the independence happened. Actually, we got independence. Anyway, Pervez Musharraf, president of Pakistan between 1999 and 2008. 1999 and 2008. I think I don't really want to spend on this time on this guy. Indonesia, the president is Joko Widodo. Joko Widodo. United Arab Emirates, Mohammed Zayed Al Nahyan. Ruling party, ruling family's, surname. Maldives, Ibrahim Mohammed Soleh. SOLEH. Bangladesh Prime Minister, we are talking of the leaders of these countries, leaders of the government. Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina Wajed. Sheikh Hasina Wajed. Which Asian country celebrated 75 years of independence from British rule on 4th February under the theme Namo Namo Mata, a step towards a century? That's Sri Lanka, my friends. Sri Lanka became independent on 4th February 1948. 1948 from the British, from the United Kingdom. Okay. So, same year, even Myanmar got independence. 1948, Myanmar, Sri Lanka got independence in 1948. You see this here? This word, strait, simply means a narrow channel of water. A narrow channel of water that separates two land bodies is called a strait. A narrow channel of water that separates two land bodies is called a strait. This is a Park Strait. Okay, yeah. So, this is the southernmost point of mainland India. Part of the continent, direct part of the Asian continent is Kanyakumari. Okay. If you look at southernmost point of India, it would be Indira Point in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. But if you look at mainland India, not island India, mainland India, it would be Kanyakumari. Okay. Anwar Ibrahim is the Prime Minister of Malaysia. Anwar Ibrahim. Singapore, Lee Hsien Loong, Prime Minister. Dinesh Gunawardena, Sri Lanka. Bangladesh, we mentioned, it is Sheikh Hasina Wajid, that's the Prime Minister. Thailand, a very controversial person, Prayut Chan-o-cha. Vani Jairam, a 3-time winner of National Film Awards for Best Female Playback Singer, passed away recently. In fact, she had just been conferred the Padma Bhushan, but she did not collect it. And unfortunately, she passed away before she could collect the Padma Bhushan, which is India's 3rd highest civilian award. Bharat Ratna, Padma Bhushan, and Padma Shri are the 4 highest awards, civilian awards in India in that order. Okay. Now, Vani Jairam has won 3 National Film Awards for Best Playback Singing. And of course, she's also sung more than 10,000 film songs, film and other kinds of songs. Dada Saheb Phalke, what is the highest award in the world of film? So highest film award, this is given for outstanding contribution to the world of films. Okay, and Dada Saheb Phalke, the guy who directed Raja Harishchandra, he was the first silent movie maker of India. In 1913, Dada Saheb Phalke made Raja Harishchandra. It was a movie, silent film. Okay, Raja Harishchandra, first movie. The characters moved. After the United States, with which nation did the European Union announce the setting up of a new trade and technology, council? India. This will expedite political decision making because, see, trade is a function of, to a large extent, politics. If there is no good relationship between two countries, in fact, the leadership decides not to have trade with another country, then it cannot have. Okay, you cannot buy, sell. If your country's president says, or the government says you can't have trade relations with that country. So this particular TTC is going to expedite, accelerate political decision making, and of course, it's also going to look at sustainable development in both Europe and, of course, India. So, European Union, how many members are there? 27. 27. How many are there in the Eurozone? 20. The latest is Croatia. Eurozone, 20 countries. 20 out of 27 countries in the European Union accept Euro as the common currency. Okay. The latest is Croatia. European Union President is Ursula von der Leyen of Germany. Among which nations a trilateral framework to collaborate on nuclear energy and explore opportunities in the Indonesian region has been formed? France, UAE have come together with India to form this framework. Okay, to build this framework. I think we discussed the UAE. France's president is Emmanuel Macron. Netherlands, the capital is Amsterdam. The Prime Minister is Mark Rutte. The currency is Euro. There is a film called Amsterdam Now. It's being Amsterdam. Okay. Anything else? I think that should be fine. You know why it's called Netherlands? Because 27%, 26% of the country's land is below sea level. It's on the Atlantic coast. Netherlands is also called lowlands. Neither means low, under, lands, underlands. 26% of the country's land is below sea level. Below sea level. In fact, 17% is below sea level. 26% is more or less at par with the sea, or just above 1 meter, about 1 meter above the sea. That's very low lying actually. SEBI has strengthened the framework for green bonds by introducing the concept of blue and yellow bonds as new modes of sustainable finance. Identify the correct statements regarding these bonds. A and B. Green bonds for sustainable development, especially agriculture and everything. Greening the forest and all that. Solar energy gets yellow bonds, and maritime sector blue bonds. Okay, so I think this is fairly easy actually. GM is genetically modified. SEBI was established in 1988. That's the year it was established, not given legal powers. It's a regulator of the banking sector. Sorry, stock market. Owing to the spread of H5N1 bird flu virus, which country witnessed the death of around 585 sea lions and around 55,000 wild birds in recent weeks. Peru. This is Peru. The third biggest country in South America. We said this is the capital, Peru. The president is Dina Boluarte. Dina Boluarte. And the currency is Sol. Sol. The largest in country by area is Brazil. Second is Argentina. And third is Peru. So these are the top three countries in Africa, in South America by area. Three largest countries in South America by area. Okay. So Chile, this is Chile. See this, a very thin strip of land now. Yeah. Chile is the southernmost country on any continent. On any continent. See this? It's almost there. At the bottom right there, it's here till here. This is all Chile. Chile's capital is Santiago. The president is Gabriel Boric. Currency is peso. P-E-S-O. Which is the first Indian financial technology company to allow cross-border UPI payments, unified payments interface. Now you can send money to or receive money from someone abroad. There is PhonePe. There is PhonePe. PhonePe is owned by Walmart. It's owned by Walmart. But who started PhonePe? Three guys started PhonePe. Rahul Chari, Samir Nigam, and Virgin Engineer. Virgin Engineer. Okay. In December 2022, 12.68 crore UPI transactions happened. 12.68 crore transactions. Money coming in, going. Yeah. And no, I'm so sorry. It's not 12.68 crore. It is 7 point. I'm so sorry, my friends. 7.68 crore transactions happen. Think of this, man. 7 and more than 7.7 crore transactions. Take 7.7, hardly matter. Take single digit, na? Single decimal. 7.7 crore transactions. Through these transactions, you know how much money went here and there? About 12.8 lakh crore. So when you transfer the 10 rupees to the chaiwala, remember, it was part of this money. In 1 month, 12.8 lakh crore rupees, moved between bank accounts. Usually UPI is, it's a real-time payment, bank transfer, real-time bank transfer payment. It happens between two bank accounts. Your bank account to the person you are sending it to. Okay. Which Indian company was named in Fortune magazine's list of the world's most admired companies of 2023? Tata Consultancy Services. Fortune most admired companies, top 3. 1, Apple. 2, Amazon. 3, Microsoft. So Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, top 3 companies. Okay, globally. India's best company, TCS. TCS is present in 55 countries. Can you beat that? 55 countries. It has 6.13 lakh employees. 6.13. Take 6.1 lakh employees in 55 countries. And its CEO is Rajesh Gopinathan. Rajesh Gopinathan. Okay, Adani is in trouble. Reliance Industries, Mukesh Ambani. Salil Parekh is the CEO of Infosys. Salil Parekh. Wipro, Thierry Delaporte. Thierry Delaporte. K. Satyanarayan Raju has been appointed the Managing Director and CEO of Canara Bank with effect from 7th February 2023. Canara Bank, okay? One of India's top 5 largest public sector banks. Union Bank of India, A. Manimekalai is a CEO. A. Manimekalai. Bank of Maharashtra, A.S. Rajiv. Punjab National Bank, Atul Kumar Goyal. Atul Kumar Goyal. See all his. Exim Bank, Export Import Bank, it's Harsha Bangari. Harsha Bangari. Okay. Which Indian university will receive the heritage tag from UNESCO for being the world's first living heritage university? Vishwa Bharati University, set up by Sri Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. Okay. Now, this is also an institute of national importance. This is important to write. Institute of national importance. Okay. Look at choice D. This was the Indian Institute of Science is, was started by Jamshedji Tata. Jamshedji Tata and Krishna Raja Wadiyar. Krishna Raja Wadiyar, the fourth of the Mysore royal family. Banaras Hindu University, started by 4 persons. Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya. Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya. Then the Maharaja of Dungarpur. You know this? There is a place called Dungarpur. Maharaja of Dungarpur. Rameshwar Singh. Rameshwar Singh. Maharaja of Dungarpur. Rameshwar Singh. Then the Maharaja of Banaras. The Maharaja of Banaras. Prabhu Narayan Singh. Prabhu Narayan Singh. Prabhu Narayan Singh. Next. And Sundar Lal. Sundar Lal. He was a lawyer. Sundar Lal. India's Lifestyles for the Environment initiative could cut over 2 billion tons of carbon dioxide emissions by 2030, says the International Energy Agency, which is based in Paris, France. You could write this. Head office, Paris, France. 31 members. 31 members. And headed by Fatih Birol of Turkey. Turkey. Fatih Birol. You know what's there in Rome? The Food and Agricultural Organization. The Food and Agricultural Organization. In Madrid, you would find the World Tourism Organization. If I say WTO, it could be World Trade Organization also. This is World Tourism Organization. London, Amnesty International. Amnesty International. Bern is not home to any particular thing. It's a de facto capital of Switzerland. Switzerland doesn't have a capital of its own. So it's one of the only two countries in the world not to have a capital. Okay, the other is a small, tiny republic of Nauru in the Pacific Ocean, which is like what, 21 square kilometers. And this one, Switzerland doesn't have a capital city by law. That is de jure, it does not have a capital. But the place where the government sits is Bern, and Bern is called the de facto capital of Switzerland. Okay. India Energy Week, the only international energy event supported at the highest level of Indian government, was recently inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi at Bengaluru, Karnataka. So we could write just extra stuff here. Yeah. Hardeep Singh Puri. Hardeep Singh Puri. He heads two ministries: Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, and there is one more, Housing and Urban Affairs. Housing and Urban Affairs. The Union government set up a panel on the digital competition law to examine various regulatory aspects in dealing with challenges emerging from the digital economy. It will be headed by the Corporate Affairs Secretary Manoj Govil. There is hardly anything to discuss here. This is the current Foreign Secretary of India, Vinay Mohan Kwatra. I think he is the current Foreign Secretary. Yeah. There is hardly anything to discuss here. Identify the correct statements about the RBI's bi-monthly monetary policy released on the 8th of February this year. Policy repo rate. We all know repo rate is the rate of interest charged by the RBI on short-term loans to the commercial banks. So repo rate, interest rate charged by the RBI on short-term loans. How short? In brackets, less than 1 year. Less than 1 year, short-term loans to the commercial banks. So it's been increased. When interest rates are increased, it means, repo rate increases means that bank have to pay more to the RBI. If banks have to pay more, it will mean the supply of money will decrease. When supply of, very simple. Banks have to pay higher interest. Higher interest to the RBI means that banks will also try to increase the interest rates on the loans they give. Okay. Now, banks give out loans for homes, for industrial purposes, and all kinds of things. So, as the banks charge higher rates of interest from customers will see that the money with them will decrease. Interest rates outgo, interest expense is higher. So the money with you decreases. As the money with you decreases, your capacity to buy stuff also decreases, which will reduce your purchasing power, which will lead to a decrease in demand for goods and services, which will lead to a decrease in prices. And that's a hope behind this. Reduction in inflation. Okay. So repo rate increased to 6.5%. True. Inflation projected 5.3%. Yes. Real GDP growth projected at 6.4%, which effectively means that growth will be, the projected nominal नाम के लिए interest, GDP growth is 10.5% in the coming financial year, which means you have to deduct inflation of 4% from this, and that is where you will get real. So from the nominal GDP growth rate minus inflation rate. Okay, so here again it says repo rate was increased by 6. No, it is not. It is the repo rate is 6.5% right now. Okay. The professional networking platform LinkedIn crossed 100 million members in India, thus making India the second largest market. The largest is United States. Which tech company owns LinkedIn? Microsoft owns it. Its current CEO, you could write this, is Ryan Roslansky. The current CEO of LinkedIn is Ryan Roslansky. See, the good thing about LinkedIn and Google is that they have a head office in the same place. Google and LinkedIn have a head office. Google's parent company is Alphabet. And they are all headquartered in the same place called Mountain View. This is a global head office of LinkedIn, Google, Alphabet. Mountain View, California, US. Okay, yeah. Tim Cook is a CEO of Apple. Elon Musk is the CEO of Twitter. IBM, Arvind Krishna. Google, Sundar Rajan Pichai. Which Indian company has successfully completed the successful test firing? Has completed a successful test firing of the world's first single-piece 3-dimensional printed engine, AgniLet. This Agnikul Cosmos, whose CEO, you could write this, CEO is Srinath Ravichandran. Last year, Skyroot Aerospace became the first private sector company to launch a rocket. First private sector company, Indian company to launch a rocket. Srinath Ravichandran is the CEO of Agnikul Cosmos. Which veteran journalist has been chosen for the prestigious 2020 Raja Ram Mohan Roy National Award for Excellence in Journalism? Anne Bhavani Koteshwar Prasad. Yes. Anne Bhavani Koteshwar Prasad. Okay. This was given by the Press Council of India. The Press Council of India is has a chairperson whose name is Justice. What's her name here? Gosh. Ranjan Prakash Desai. Yeah, Ranjan Prakash Desai. Yes. Justice Ranjan Prakash Desai. See, this Anne Bhavani Koteshwar Prasad Garu is a veteran Telugu journalist. Okay, and he's won multiple awards, and this year he's been given the National Award for Excellence in Journalism. 1, 2, 4, 5. They're all journalists, TV journalists. In fact, Vikram Chandra, TV journalist, is also the author of a book called The Srinagar Conspiracy. The Srinagar Conspiracy. Now, one more thing. There's another Vikram Chandra who is the author of Sacred Games TV series. Okay, he's also the author of books like Red Earth, EARTH, and Pouring Rain. It's one book, Red Earth and Pouring Rain. I have read all the books of that author, Vikram Chandra. I have not read this Srinagar Conspiracy, but it became quite famous. For which company has the Tata Group led air carrier has Tata Group-led carrier Air India signed agreements for about 500 new planes worth more than $100 billion at least prices. Airbus and Boeing. Airbus is a European company owned by the governments of UK, Spain, France, Belgium, Germany. What is that? Something is missing. Netherlands. Mainly these companies. And yeah, Italy also. Okay. So, but this is a private sector company. Boeing is a private sector company. It's an American company whose CEO is Dave Calhoun. Dave Calhoun. Airbus CEO is Gulam Faury. Gulam Faury. Yeah, that should be fine. Which fintech app became the first to support RuPay credit cards on UPI, bringing a new level of convenience to the millions of Indians who use UPI for daily transactions? MobiKwik. MobiKwik is one of India's first wallet companies, financial wallet companies. This company was started by the husband and wife team of Bipin Preet Singh. Bipin Preet Singh and the wife Upasana Thakur. Upasana Thakur. Okay. Who of the following was recently awarded the Felix Houphouët-Boigny UNESCO Peace Prize in Yamoussoukro, the capital of the Ivory Coast? Angela Merkel. See, this is Boigny. Okay. He was the president of Ivory Coast. Boigny was the president of Ivory Coast since between the year 1960. That's when Ivory Coast became independent of French control, till his death in 1993. He was president of Ivory Coast. And you know what? He was called the Sage of Africa. The Sage of Africa. The Sage of Africa. Yamoussoukro. But you know, Yamoussoukro is not the main city in the Ivory Coast. The main city is a place called Abidjan. Don't write Abidjan. And as far as Yamoussoukro is concerned, while this guy was a benign chap, a good chap, unlike many dictators in Africa, he moved the capital from Abidjan to Yamoussoukro in the center of the city, in the center of the country, more or less center, interior. Yeah. Why was it called Ivory Coast? Why is it called Ivory Coast? The actual French name is Côte d'Ivoire or Côte d'Ivoire. But Ivory Coast, because when the Europeans came here, they found, ivory, the teeth of elephants, being available in abundance in this place. So Ivory Coast. Yeah. Plenty of reasons for us to learn, my friends. Plenty of them. The former Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, former Prime Minister of UK, Boris Johnson, Nobel laureate and former Chief Counselor of the State of Myanmar, Aung San Suu Kyi. KYI is pronounced CHI. Chi. She is in jail now, of course. That's all from me, Bharat C. Jain. Have a lot of fun. Thank you for being here. Stay curious. Thank you.